Welcome to SFH Presents One More Podcast.
Welcome to SFH Presents One More Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Polk, here with my co-host, Ty Southern.
Hey.
Today we have with us Ben and Jess Owen. Super excited to have you guys on. We've been thinking about this for months, right? I think I sent you a message a long time ago, like you were in a post, and I'm like, hey, man, we got to do this.
Bro.
And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but 2 weeks ago, you had an episode come out from the Shawn Ryan Show, which is a great show.
Congratulations.
Fucking almost 6 hours.
Dude, we could have kept going. Like I didn't even get into the good shit. Like all we talked about was the shit, pain, and misery from the streets. It was like 5 minutes on Afghanistan, Ukraine, and trying to save the world.
Well, look, I've thought about this. You know, I took notes from watching that, and again, as I was explaining before we started this thing, which, by the way, let me give the disclaimer: we're not medical professionals. You guys know what to do. We don't do research for the purpose of it being just organic, and I don't want to direct it as like I'm doing an interview. To me, that's just a different thing, you know.
Yep.
And with you guys, I'm like what I don't want to do. I don't want to be Shawn Ryan light and have you tell the same damn story that you told for 6 hours in a shortened version that never even scratches the surface.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, your story, both of your story together, you know, we've had a lot of guests on where we talk about all these things that they've been through and the traumas and things that have led them to where they're at. And you have 30 of those fucking stories.
Yeah, I would say y'all need a mini series. Y'all wouldn't be a movie. Y'all'd have to be a couple seasons of television.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Tough as nails.
So I've been trying to think about how to take this, and I've got a few things, but also like you guys take this also as yours. Like get to what you want to get to today. Get to what you didn't get to on the show. Because I want to tell anybody that's listening to this episode, go watch that. I know it's 5.5 hours. You can break it up. The beautiful thing about podcasts, I watch it over 3 days. Because fucking that was long. That was the long. And I'm a Rogan fan, so I've watched 4-hour episodes of shit for a decade plus. 6 hours is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fucking intense.
It really was. But it was compelling the entire time. There was never a point where I was like, oh, okay.
Well, the funny part, like she wasn't supposed to even be on it. Mm-mm. That was a game time decision in the moment. He's like, fuck this, swap chairs.
Let's go.
Hell
yeah.
Dude,
I love it.
I was like, oh, fuck. I had no idea I was about to go in that chair.
Yeah,
when that happens.
But I kind of understood. You said, you know, if you would have told, if you asked her beforehand, she would have been nervous. She would have been fucked up. But because she was just here, throw her in the seat. That makes sense.
She crushed it.
Yeah, you did great. Yeah, I wished, and that's why I'm glad you're on today, because I wanted to get to a little more of your story as well. Let's just start off with the question. What does still fucking here mean to you?
Shit, dude, it means we're alive out of spite. I mean, and that's really like, that's all there is to it. Like, we should have died 1,000 times out there. I know plenty of people that have endured a hell of a lot less than us that did not make it, you know? And so we're still fucking here. We got work left to do.
It's kind of like a fighter can take 100 punches, or a guy can get hit the first fight he's in and get knocked out and he's never the same.
Yep.
And there are people there's kids that start drugs like that and die. You know, the fact that you can endure all of that, go through all of those things. Again, like I would love to get into it, but I know how deep the story is. And it's like, there's no way we get even a scratch the surface in 2 hours. So I would again, push everybody, go watch that episode. You could give at least like a little synopsis of like a Cliff Notes version of your stories, at least for the people that aren't going to go watch that.
Yeah. All right. Let me attempt a Cliff Notes version. So, I've struggled with alcoholism since I was like 13 years old.
right around the time you were wrestling alligators, by the way.
Yeah. Well, there was definitely alcohol involved in that. But side note, I've been bit by 2 venomous snakes. Alcohol was involved both of those times too. But I was drinking myself out of college. I was in ROTC at Auburn when the towers came down. I made the brilliant decision that I was going to get sober by dropping out of college and enlisting in the infantry. I ended up getting discharged due to an injury before the summer of 2002 was over, but basically left Fort Benning with a major chip on my shoulder, and I just drank at that for the next 5 years. Totaled a car going 130 in 2007. I was ejected, fractured my pelvis in 3 places, and fucked up a whole bunch of other stuff. But I got sober for a little bit, and I stayed that way till 2011. Started drinking again. The leg that I jacked up at Fort Benning and rejacked up in the car wreck ended up getting a methicillin-resistant staph infection. So now opiate painkillers were entering the equation, and I became like ridiculously addicted to those in 2012. By 2013, that progressed to a heroin habit. And I mean, within 5 years, I went from working for a Fortune 500 to owning my own business. I had 30 employees to I was homeless and had lost everything, destroyed my marriage, lost 7 vehicles, a house, a business, my freedom. So 2014 is when I got arrested for the first time for dope and guns. I mean, they were my guns. I was on my own from the firing range, but of course, they charged me like I was Pablo Escobar. And I ended up getting put into a drug court program. Veterans Court didn't want to take me because of all the gun charges. I was court ordered into Narcotics Anonymous, which is where I met her. Side note, don't do that. Don't go meet women.
Bad idea.
Don't meet women in NA. Like we'll tell people all the time when we're telling the story that if anybody had told us on the front end exactly where we'd be sitting today, but everything we'd have to go through to get there, we both would have thrown deuces. There's no way in hell we willingly would have gone through that.
It has been.
So I got to say that. Don't go looking for love in 12-step recovery. And like the story should have they got sober together and there's a great happy ending, but it actually got a shitload worse after that. Jess and I ended up relapsing together. And from 2015 to 2018, it was this nonstop cycle of trying to get sober, getting arrested, rebuilding businesses, making tons of money, blowing tons of money, losing everything over and over. We ended up getting a huge ass house, which we lost. We lost our vehicles again. We ended up homeless by the beginning of 2019 together. She stabbed me in the middle of all this.
Woo!
It was a slice.
He earned it, I bet.
It was a slice.
It was a gentle laceration. It was a love laceration.
It was a love laceration, yes. But before we hit rock bottom, I mean, so I obviously I got slashed. I had 2 drug-related heart attacks. I had another near-fatal car wreck where I almost roasted alive in a 68 GTO.
Damn.
Just a small detail, not to stop you, but you said that your ID and shit in your wallet melted, yet you didn't get burned somehow. Yeah, that was really weird. This is before I met Jess. This is right before I got arrested, actually. I look back at that and I'm like, God was trying to tell me something like, hey man, I'll give you a second chance here. You should do the right thing. And of course, if you listen to Shawn Ryan, I didn't do the right thing. I crawled out of the wreckage with bones sticking out of my feet and tried to run from the ambulance drivers so I could go get my heroin because I was dope sick. So, but yeah, my IDs in my pockets melted, charred edges, like money was on fire and smoking, and I didn't have a burn on my body.
You would have had a very nice coffin, though.
I would have had a very nice coffin. I missed that
68 GTO.
Yeah. I've got a 68 Chevelle now. It's faster than the GOAT was.
That's way better. Sorry.
No.
Story stuff.
That is my one vanity car that I would like to own.
What, Chevelle?
68. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
that or 68 Impala are the two for me.
It was a 62 Impala that caught her attention. That's what I was driving in 2015 when we met. It was a shit box, had a straight six in it, 4-door. I mean, it was like a land yacht, dude.
It was the worst.
It really was. We ended up pulling the motor out of that, and we bought the GTO back from auction, which I had totaled a year prior, and we pulled the 400 out of that and threw it in the Impala. But then my buddy ended up spinning a rod, and anyway. ADHD 123. Where were we at?
Squirrels. Sorry, it was directly after the GTO and the fire and the
but before we got sober, I ended up having 2 drug-related heart attacks. I've drank holes in my esophagus, a whole lot of time in ICUs. I ended up getting triple pneumonia, viral, fungal, and bacterial from shooting bad dope. We've been shot at. We've been kidnapped together. We've been held for ransom with our 2-year-old. Like, everything got real bad. And we went from, in February of 2018, we were selling $500,000 a month of slide fire stocks. Like, we were rolling the money. And by February of 2019, we're living in the trap house. We didn't have a vehicle anymore. Like, it went down that fast.
I guess if Rasputin can exist, his happy twin, like the good side, like he's your evil twin. Like, can't hold this motherfucker down.
So
he won't die.
2019, after like this series of friends dying and arrests and RICO cases and people going to prison and everything just sucked, I finally hit rock bottom. I was like, fuck this, I'm done. And I've been trying to get sober like the entirety of 2015 to 2019 anyway. So anyway, I finally hit rock bottom. We got clean together. And we moved to Georgia. We rebuilt our businesses. And in 2021, we started Flanders Fields, which is a nonprofit to help other vets battling opiate addiction. 2022, we started We Fight Monsters, which is a similar mission, just without the veteran requirement on there. We have a very heavy focus on sex trafficking. So we go and try to get a lot of women out of prostitution, primarily back in Memphis. We worked the evacuation out of Afghanistan from 2021 until I actually don't think we stopped until we got a rezo to our house in Memphis. So we basically adopted a 21-year-old Shia Hazara girl that we evacuated, the daughter of a commando. She lives with us in Memphis. We're putting her through college. Well, now she's putting herself through college. She's working, kicking ass and all things. So we stopped Afghanistan last year. Like we were running safe houses and during ground routes for humanitarian supplies and all that shit. We helped in Ukraine some, funded some demining rotations, flew some EOD guys over there. We've done hostage recovery in Haiti. We worked human trafficking in Mexico. But like the thing that matters to us is what we're trying to do in Memphis. We went back to Memphis to honor a promise we made God on our way to rock bottom, which was, if you get us out of hell together, we're going to come back for everybody we left. And so we're doing that. We've shut down the trap houses we used to get high in. We've bought them. We've turned them into sober living houses. Yeah. We've gotten north of 400 men, women, and kids off the streets through detox, sober living, back into the workforce. We've shut down 4 fentanyl trafficking operations, 1 human trafficking operation. 3 child predators and 1 child abuser are in prison. What else?
Yes.
Fuck, that was a lot, dude.
I'm enjoying this list a lot. Like, y'all said a bunch of shit that sucks. And then this end part's great.
Oh, shit. Yeah, this is the biggest thing of all. So we have entered into an agreement to renovate a 76,000 square foot abandoned nursing home into West Tennessee's largest treatment facility. Our next cleanup event at that place is the 19th of April. If you guys can make it, you keep talking about coming to Memphis. I'd love to see y'all. April 19th.
Hell yeah, dude.
We got people coming in from all over the country to help with it.
That epic. God, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Holy hell. Fuck. What? So if you relapse together, you stay together? What's the rule there? Like, as long as you keep doing it together, it'll pan out. And you only lacerate. No deep stabs.
Oh, it was deep. I had there were chunks of meat hanging out of my arm. We had to zip tie it together. Because
what did you do?
Good Lord.
Or what did she think you did? How many drugs were involved with this particular situation?
All I'm saying is maybe you should have went fishing with him.
That would have been better.
You should finally go fishing.
We're gonna do that this summer.
Yeah, make a YouTube video of you guys fishing just to come full circle for everyone.
Hell yeah.
There's so many things that I think about. You know, the first thing I thought when I watched the episode, and now you kind of brought it to this, is that it seems like the formula that you have, and you used an example of going from the top and the bottom. You were using your hands like this.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's so logical and it makes so much fucking sense, man. The war on drugs has been a fucking joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's never done a fucking thing, man. And when you treat people, you know, how poverty has a hand in so much of this shit, crime, drug use, etc., which isn't, it's often not the person's problem or fault. Not that they can't come out of that, not that you can't have reason to come out of it, but you're not always born into something better than that either. So to fall down that path and then be treated like a criminal the rest of your life versus a patient, which is something that I know you mentioned you're not saying we should decriminalize drugs. I don't know. I'm somewhere in between on that. It seems senseless because people will fuck themselves up if you do. But I'm also like, what good has it done to make them illegal?
So, and I get both sides of that. You've never struggled with addiction, have you, Zach?
Nope.
Okay, so this is why you think that way, and I love the fact that your head goes there. The risk of incarceration is a motivator. Jail fucking sucks. So if I'm being totally blunt, if jail wasn't on the table for me getting high, it would have been real hard for me to stop getting high. Now, at the same time, nobody ever gets sober just because they went to jail. You know what I mean?
Right.
There has to be a sufficient level of suffering involved, and incarceration alone cannot provide that. So, like, do I believe people should be locked up for years for having their own drugs? Absolutely not. So let's put it this way. I don't think prison time is good for addicts if all they're doing is drugs. Jail, on the other hand, which not everybody's aware of the difference. Jail is what happens before you're sentenced. Jail can be a great motivator for people to get sober. So, you know, like I said, I don't want to see it decriminalized because that removes a lot of the incentive for people who have
not
grown up in the hood and were raised to understand or believe that jail is a natural part of life.
Yeah.
It's a really sad reality that you run into in a lot of the inner cities. Is that they accept that, like it's part of your life's journey. You're going to go to prison at some point. It's glorified. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the notes I took was you were saying that there was a guy that was like impressed with the fact that you've served more time than him or whatever.
Yeah. They used to give him a hard time because I'd done more time than him, but he was the dope boy and I was just, hey, I'm super excited to tell y'all that guy, that drug dealer got his CDL yesterday.
That is fucking incredible.
Hell yeah.
Yes,
what a fucking win.
Out of the game, he is legit now.
Hell
and that right there is what we're trying to make happen as many times as we possibly can.
Hell yeah. Congrats.
I think though it's so key that you have a connection and those people have a respect for you that is different than the law. The law itself is not enough.
Right.
And even the government is not enough. You know, it's not enough to go to have a government facility with government workers that are like, you can come here and get help. Like your passion for it. And I mean, it's gotta be difficult to keep doing it, you know, cause you're going through, I'm sure you feel, you know, we talk to all these people that work in the human trafficking field and these other places. And it's like, it's almost, you don't feel like you're winning even when you're winning. And it's the reason we named this One More Podcast. Was one of the human trafficking guys was like, anti-human trafficking guys was like, you just worry about one more.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yep.
I love him.
He's great.
I love him. Yeah. Kevin's been out to Memphis and seeing what we're doing. He's a very good friend of ours. We love him.
He's a great dude. We had to record that episode twice. The first one we lost 2/3 of what his whole entire thing.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey man, do you mind coming back on? We'll start from the beginning. It's going to be difficult to, you know, catch it in a bottle twice, but let's do our best. And it was great. I loved the second one too.
The second one was wonderful.
Yeah. Kevin's fantastic. But I mean, yeah, it is hard, dude. And there are a lot of days where it's like when I just got on this podcast with you guys before we started recording, I told you I'm fucking tired, man. Like I'm wearing down.
Yeah.
You know, day after tomorrow, I'm eulogizing an 18-year-old girl. We had
Sorry to hear that.
A murder happen yesterday afternoon at the intensive outpatient center that our men go to. We had another murder happen on the opposite side of the train tracks from our houses this morning. We're constantly surrounded by death. And that's no different than when we were fucking out there getting high about it. You know, like we're still right in the middle of all this. We're just on a different side of it, trying to stop it now. And while it does suck, dude, while it sucks to have to deal with that much death and know that there's nothing we can do about all of them, you know, I don't even know how many women are back in their kids' lives now because of the work we've done, you know, families that have been restored, kids that are living in stable environments. And like, those are the things we have to focus on when we have these trifectas of shitty shit happen, I mean, we have these little, it's always in threes, you know, so hopefully the one this morning is going to be the last one. But you've got to focus on the wins. And it's like Kevin says, you just got to go on to the next one. Just one more. And you just keep doing that. And it's kind of got a way of, I won't say refilling your tank, but it keeps enough gas in the tank to keep going another day.
Yeah, because the concept of the fatigue of it all has to, God, I can't imagine how heavy it is running two of these things after being through everything you've been through. But at the same time, all the stuff you've been through helps motivate you to continue going anyways, I imagine. Yeah, well, right? And it's a lot of jet fuel.
Yeah, and both sides of this, both the wins and the losses, motivate us to never go back to the way we used to be.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's I think the differentiating factor. Like everybody sees what we do and they're like, oh my God, you guys are so cool. Like, no, we're really not. Like we have to do this or we're going to go get fucking high and be dead next.
Yeah.
Like, we're really only doing what it takes to stay sober.
So, you know, I know you, this is heroic and I know you don't look at yourself that way, but if this becomes a blueprint, what you're doing becomes a blueprint in other cities, which I hope it does, because it sounds brilliant and it sounds like it could actually make changes where change is need. I think a lot of people, especially coming from the situation you came from, would even consider that they could be so heroic. And I know that's not the way you think about it, but when you look at you, that's the way they're going to see it. But I'm sure there are things. I mean, obviously you're human. You guys go through shit. You probably have your fights. You have your shit that you deal with like a normal person. Are there things within this that you haven't quite, that kind of haunt you, that you haven't quite figured out, that frustrate you, that, you know what I mean? Like the other people are going to want to know that they can do that. You know what I mean? It's probably a try it thing. You know what I mean? This whole time that you've been doing it.
I mean, seeing kids suffer is something I'm never going to come to grips with. You know, and I think the day I do come to grips with that, if that ever happens, is the day I have to stop.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things you can never accept. It's never going to be okay. And it doesn't matter if they're suffering by their own hand or by somebody else's. That weighs on, you know?
Yeah.
How can't it? Yeah. How would it not?
I can only imagine.
And then the trafficked women, man, seeing women that have been raised pretty much their entire life from puberty onward as nothing but a commodity, trying to get them to understand they have value is a very difficult thing to do. And so watching a lot of the self-loathing in the women,
deprogramming.
Exactly. It's tough, dude. It's tough.
That part, like the coming up short would weigh a lot as well. But when you win, there's still so much you got to trudge through.
And it's never a permanent win. You know,
exactly.
Relapses,
I was going to say
relapses are a very common thing in people's recovery journeys. It happened a lot to us. I mean, like I said, I was trying to get clean all of 2015 to 2019. So it was like a constant string of relapses. So that's something we have to be prepared for, and it does happen. You know, we have people that have been absolute rock stars and they fall off a cliff, and that fucking sucks.
Yeah. You were, just to connect something with what you had said on the Shawn Ryan show, you had the money to go buy all the drugs you need for a long period of time, but you were buying little bits at a time and returning in the same day several times because you were like, this is the last time.
Yep.
This is the last time. I'll be honest, you know, there's a few things that I've learned over the last few years and with this podcast too, but even before that, I kind of went out on my own to have a better understanding of what an addict's life is like, because I didn't grow up. I grew up pretty bought into the fucking Nancy Reagan say no to drugs shit. You know, like it wasn't until I was in my late 30s when I started even like smoking weed. I would drink a little, but like I was just very anti every drug. And I, you know, Joe Rogan honestly kind of took me out of that to feel okay with psychedelics and certain things that I got more comfortable with. And I didn't quite understand. I had to kind of go down a rabbit hole with the internet for a while to sort of get in the mind of and understand, because you kind of look at, when you're not in that space or around addicts, you kind of look at them like fuck ups and idiots. And you fucking graduated with honors, dude. You did some kind of experiment or wrote a medical paper when you were a child? Like,
yeah, man, they thought I was going to be like the next Doogie Howser. They were like, but so, okay, look, you can look at that one of two ways. You can look at it the way you just described it, or you can look at it the way I look at it, which is I'm just a fucking dumbass, you know? I'm a fucking dumbass. And so, you know, the stigma that addicts have in a lot of ways, it's well deserved. Like, we earn that shit, but it doesn't define us. Like, it doesn't mean we can't come back from it, you know? And somebody that's never battled addiction, they're never going to get it. You know, they can never understand the level of believing your own bullshit that it requires. But I've never met one addict who is content to be one. I've never met a child that said, I want to be a junkie when I grow up. Yet it still happens. So, like, obviously, I think there's a very strong genetic component to it. And I mean, there's tons of studies that have proven this out. But I don't know where I was going with that. My ADHD got me.
Well, the addiction side of that, I completely agree. You know, some people are susceptible to addiction, and some people are not as susceptible.
Yep.
Like, I can drink. When I was playing music, I would drink 5 nights a week if I played music 5 nights a week. But if I was off for 3 months, I wouldn't drink a drop.
See, that's like the most foreign concept in the world to me.
Yeah, and I've grown to understand that I just didn't get that gene. But it's just taken me a long time to understand the battle, even though I can't relate, even though I can't fully understand, to understand the battle and have more empathy and compassion for addicts than I used to. And I think a lot of society kind of treats addicts like homeless people, where they just kind of step over them and like, get fuck, like just are annoyed by it.
Less than.
Yeah. That irritates me. It irritates me now.
Yeah, when we first started this, it was a point of frustration for us, the way the public at large views addicts and alcoholics. But I had this epiphany one day very early on, that it's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be their calling. It doesn't have to be their mission. And my cause does not even have to appeal to them. It's okay. I'm not trying to change the way anybody, you know, thinks about the junkie down the street, but I am trying to provide some context, you know, because maybe that person who hates the junkie down the street from them, maybe their child or their sister or their mother at some point is going to fall into addiction, and hopefully something we've said has shifted their perspective just enough for them to do exactly what you did, Zach, and be open to learning a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Look, man, like, and I guess it just comes with wisdom in general as you grow older, where you realize the things you thought were important are not. Yeah. And you find that other things are more important. And having empathy and understanding what other people are going through is a really important part of having some harmony with your existence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of people, there's some people that never get there. Like they're 70 and they've never stopped to like take in anybody, the lenses through which other people see life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's tragic. Like, I hate that. They're going to die miserable people, you know, and I don't want that for anybody.
I agree.
For sure.
And especially in such, you know, everyone's so divided right now. You know, things are so divisive in the media, everything about our politics and what you socially think. And it's fucking crazy, man. But when you sit down with people, whether it's an addict or a Republican or a Democrat or a gay person or a whatever, everybody's all right, man.
I know.
Everybody's cool. It's fine.
Almost like the media is manufacturing some division for us.
Yeah.
Almost as if.
Yeah,
like such as
I've been on social media like with fairly large platforms for about 15 years now. And I used to run like political shit posting pages just to, stir the pot. This is before I had my own enlightenment and realized there's nothing for that. But even with that history, I've never seen our nation as divided online as we are today. And it's it's terrifying. But what is really strange to me is that I've noticed the exact same thing you've noticed, Zach. I've yet to be able to sit down with somebody, no matter how differently they think and or post than me on social media. I've never been able to sit down with somebody and not get along.
Find something.
Yeah, it's almost like, how road rage has been studied. Like road rage is bizarre. People act ways behind the wheel that they will never act in real life.
Because those windows.
Yeah. So like social media is almost road rage on steroids. There's some psychological effect that people just view everybody as their adversary if there is even the slightest difference in thought process or values. When I think at the end of the day, if we actually just do sit down at the table, we probably really all want the same thing. We just have different ideas about how we're going to get there.
Yep.
Calling me out on that road rage thing.
Why does that not surprise me?
I am a wildly happy-go-lucky, accepting, jovial dude. But if you go 5 under in front of me, I don't have words. I hate you. It should affect your credit score. I hope you step in a wet spot every time you put on fresh socks. You fucker. Like I just sorry. Anyways. But but then I'm like, hugs, everyone's good.
Yeah, it's the same reason why you think you can pick your nose in the car because the window's up and no one can see you. It's crazy. He's crying. Lose the dance. It's crazy. This ties in, but it's also kind of something completely different that I just talking about how we look at addicts or how we look at people. You had mentioned something about not seeing child predators as evil. Might not have been exactly verbatim how you worded it, but there are times that I watch like who's the famous dude that fucking catches predators on
Chris.
I don't remember his name.
Fucking Matthew. No,
what's
Hansen.
his name? Chris Hansen.
I was gonna say I can see his face.
I'm Chris Hansen, dude. Look, I have a daughter. She's 20 years old. I have a son. He's 16 years old. I obviously care about it. It's one of the worst crimes possible. Mm-hmm. But when I watch these dudes and the light just disappears from their eyes, I feel empathy and sadness for them.
Yeah.
So while I know what they're doing is wrong, and I know there's something up here that's not going right, I don't have this hatred of like you're just an evil person. A lot of times they're short on IQ points too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can you look at that person and be like, you're just a piece of shit evil person? It's not that simple, man.
It's really not. And Joe Scaramucci, like I've noticed this about child predators just because of the work we do. We come into contact with some weird people. And I never wanted to say anything about it because I felt fucking crazy saying it. But I was filming a documentary with Joe Scaramucci, who's Kevin Metcalf knows him. If you guys haven't had Scaramucci on, you need to. He's a huge guy.
With that last name, we got to try, right?
He works the Skull Games. Jeff Teague's the former Delta guy.
I was going to say, I feel like I've heard this name before.
Yeah, and he's huge in the Waco space, like 25 years law enforcement, Marine Corps vet. He's a badass dude. And a Harvard grad, oddly enough. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, fucking weird.
That sounds like an 80s movie mob
dude,
boss.
They could make a movie about this guy.
Like,
for real, but
the Scaramucci family.
we're filming this documentary with Metcalf, actually. And we're in a hotel in Little Rock. I brought a child trafficking survivor with me from Memphis that we'd recovered. They wanted to interview her too. And Joe says something in front of this girl, and the camera's like on camera recorded about he can count the number of truly evil people he's ever encountered on one hand. And I'm sitting there thinking like, holy shit, he sees it too. And he went into great detail about this, about how a lot of these dudes trust, rolling up to meet with a minor boy or girl, they're not bad people. Like they're just fucked up people that made a terrible decision. And we really had this kind of thrown in our faces. We had another child trafficking survivor that we'd recovered, like long documented history of being trafficked. And she was on the sex offender registry. And we dug into the affidavits. It was because her trafficker had also trafficked a 17-year-old female, and they pinned it on her. And like, her story checked out. We housed this girl. We had her around my teenage boys multiple times for about a year. And I got a message one day that she might be doing something she shouldn't be doing. We dug into it, and sure as shit, she was having sexual relationships with 2 minors. Wow. And I'm like, oh my God, I never saw that coming. You know, I never saw it. We were fighting to get her off the registry and everything. Like, she's not a bad person. She's a very good person, but there's something wrong in her head. You know, something's not clicking up there.
Yeah, it goes back to the thing. I've mentioned this before, but Joe Rogan always talks about everybody used to be a baby, man.
Yeah.
Like, when you think, well, like the things that you've been through, and it's such a, look, my brothers and sisters were raised in the same house. We couldn't be more different.
Same here.
You know, like the idea that somebody grows through all the things with their environment and their DNA and their upbringing and all these factors that make you who you are, that you don't even, probably half of it. I mean, I've heard people talk about that. Much of it's done before you're 4 years old.
Yeah.
You know, like whether it's your desire to be high or to help yourself through those problems and those things that you went through, where you're like, I got to go do this thing. It's a fucking terrible thing. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't define you. And you could say the same for those people.
Yeah.
Again, it's like we were all just fucking babies, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing.
It's also the old adage of, you know, the alcoholic raises 2 sons and one never touches alcohol and one becomes an alcoholic.
Yep.
Like, it just, yeah, you're given the same information. You just filed it under different shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, never do, definitely do.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's definitely softened me a lot, you know, coming to that understanding over the years, where it's like,
oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was so. I mean, I still get pissed off because in general people stink. You know, like you're like, fucking people suck. But like individually, humanity. I like people.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm very much the same. And, you know, we've interviewed a lot of extremely violent criminals, gang members, dope boys, pimps, and you hear their stories about childhood and how they were raised, and you, like, all of a sudden you find yourself like understanding.
Yeah,
you find
you're only a pimp.
Sorry for this murderer. Like, you hear his childhood story, you're like, okay, well, I can absolutely see why you shot 4 people. I probably would have a lot sooner than you did, you know. And it's weird. Like, it's almost like a perspective I didn't want to have. But I want to really understand struggling human beings, and I want to make a difference out there on these streets. I have to understand where they come from. I have to understand them.
Yeah.
That still doesn't mean I want to sit across from a child predator and interview them about their childhood, but you get what I'm saying, though.
I do.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not all the way on the same page, but I do understand what you're both saying, for sure.
I mean, look, I as you said, most of the addicts don't want to be addicts.
Right.
And probably a lot of the people who have done the things they've done don't want to do the things they've done, or don't want to have done the things they've done. So when you look at it that way, it's like, how can you look at that person and not understand that what they did, what led them to do the thing that they did, again, doesn't define them? And being able to meet them where they're at. Ideally, we'd have a world where no one murdered anyone, no one raped anyone, no one did these things, but clearly they're happening. And they're going to continue happening. Yeah. So the only way to get through to some of those people is to meet them where they're at. And have some understanding and not just judgment, man.
Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right about that.
I don't like it, but yeah, you're right.
Of course not. So
I
Jess,
don't love it, but you're right.
Jess, in your little minute on the podcast, you said some of your connection was metal. Yes.
Oh, for Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like so smart, you know, and then, like, usually guys like that, they're not into metal and they're just kind of weird and boring. And he wasn't like, he was smart and he loved nature and he loved like awesome music. Like he could go from metal to listening to like Solomon Burke or something. And I just love the eclectic music. I'm not as much into music now just because I have so much more stuff to think about. But back then, like music was my life. Like
We
everything.
literally went to Deftones 2 nights ago.
Well, I know, because I mean that's Deftones.
My favorite
It's
band
Deftones,
of
man.
all time.
That is my favorite band of all time.
It's like, that's not the same thing.
My favorite band. My daughter, who's 20, that's her favorite band. She's got a Deftones tattoo already.
Hell yeah.
I'm like,
Not yet.
Racing
can't-
right.
yeah, like I can't think of a lot of things I'd be more proud of than my daughter having a Deftones tattoo.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
That
Like,
is badass.
well done, Dad.
Her birthday's coming up May 10th, and the only thing she wants is for her and I to go get matching Snot tattoos. I don't know if you're familiar with the band Snot from.
I'm not.
Well,
I don't know that I want to be familiar with the band.
they're kind of they're new metal also. It's kind of the same type shit, a little more punk-ish, but also like kind of has that hip-hoppy metal thing. But the lead singer, they cut one album. The lead singer died in a car accident with his dog Dobbs. And they cut it. Their second album, they'd already written the music with no vocals. So like Fred Durst, Jonathan Davis, Corey Taylor, all the singers from that era that were huge, sang took a song and put this album out. I was working for Immortal Records at the time. So I ended up going out on Ozfest for a whole summer in the year 2000, where I was promoting Straight Up, which was a tribute to Lynn Straight that had all those songs and so on. So I'm really tied in with Snot. But I also we both love them.
Yeah, that's cute as shit, by the
I
way.
might check them out.
Dude, within the last 3 months, they found another singer who sounds exactly like Lynn, and they're out touring again. And I'm losing my shit over this.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
I might get to go with my daughter and see Snot live. Would be fucking.
That's
After
awesome.
getting your Schnott tattoos.
I've taken her to a lot of metal shows, her and my son both. But I took her to Deftones, and she's standing a foot in front of me, just completely enthralled, and I'm bawling my eyes. Yeah. I'm just standing behind her crying like, this is it, dude. This is the
I have
this is the
arrived.
peak. I'm
Bothered him.
Dad's so hard, my ankles hurt.
So after I watched Shawn Ryan Show, you know how YouTube just kind of takes you down shit, right?
Yep.
It started taking me to these videos of veterans where they're just standing there with their arms crossed telling their story. There's no interviewer, there's no nothing. They're talking about things. And a couple of them were talking about something you had spoke about where you ended up in the WhatsApp or the Signal chats.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those fucking things that civilians don't think about, where it's like, we left Afghanistan. What of all the people that were helping us, who are now the enemy of who's taken over so quickly?
Yep.
Fucking blew my mind. It
Watch
made
The
me
Covenant.
so fucking sad, man.
The Covenant is a really amazing movie on this subject, by the way. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, the Guy Ritchie one.
Yeah, it was God.
haven't seen
It was
that.
so beautifully acted, and it had me the parts that were getting real had me anxious. I don't watch modern war movies anymore. I don't care about desert warfare movies. I have to watch jungle stuff. But and it's not because I was there, flashbacks. But like it's usually like a bullshit. No,
Yeah.
like why are your elbows out, stupid? Like, small target. Like I can't not. I was like when they first get an M16 in Vietnam, no one told them how to hold it, so they're just it doesn't matter. They're doing 80 shit anyways. And it was like it probably felt like a feather. The Garand was heavy as shit.
Oh yeah.
You mean when Rambo was carrying the M60 on his hip, firing it through the little town? That wasn't real?
Honestly, he probably could be doing that with the
I
M60. He's a
still
strong ass
love-
dude. I imagine that's possible. Like you could physically do that with that
Dude, Rambo First Blood,
dude.
where
The
it's
alternate ending is sick, by the way.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh, the alternate ending, the whole part when he freaks out about having been able to man this and work these, millions of dollars of equipment, and then I come back here and I can't do shit. That scene ends with him offing himself.
Wow.
Like he spirals harder for a few minutes and finishes it.
Damn.
And then, like right there in front of Troutman and everybody.
You want to know my favorite line in the movie?
Go.
He'll eat things that'll make a billy goat puke.
That guy. Old Troutman. I like the fact that that knife didn't exist. They made the Rambo knife for the movie Rambo, and then it became one of the most popular survival knives ever.
Yeah.
Like, it was not a military knife. He was like, the one they had was, I have one on the wall, but it's like this big. Like,
yeah, now there's 20 million being sold nationwide at flea markets.
But yeah, now he's over here like, I'm gonna get my survival freaking gladius out and freaking start doing this. Like, it's so easy.
So talk a little more about that though, the Afghanistan thing. I want to understand your perspective on all that.
Yeah, the Covenant stuff.
Man, we completely fucked our allies. I mean, I think everybody can understand that. I can't wrap my mind around what the long game was by either administration. Like that's how the United States Special Operations conduct business, is by, with, and through partner nation forces. And now this is twice in 50 years that we've just been like, fuck you guys, we're going home. We did it in Vietnam, to the Montagnards, and now we've done it in Afghanistan, and like the really shitty part is the threat from ISIS and AQ and all these radicals. It's only increasing. And now there's pretty much a 100% likelihood that my sons are going to end up going to war with the sons of men I could not save. And that's, I think, an inescapable reality that just sucks, man. Like, this is not the America that I was raised to believe in. Although I didn't know when I was raised what we had done to our Montagnard allies in Vietnam. It seems like we have a pattern of doing this now. So...
Well, it's amazing what propaganda in your young mind does for you.
Oh, it really is. And the United States is very, very good at what it does. Propaganda is neither necessarily good nor evil. It's what you choose to do with it. But man, the machine ran strong on us. Let's put it that way. I grew up thinking America never leaves anybody behind and we're great. And here we are. We just left fucking 35,000 soft, veterans in Afghanistan. The Afghan forces with no pathway to the United States, no pathway out of Afghanistan. They've got two options. They're either going to live in hiding the rest of their lives, or they're going to have to go work for the Taliban or Al Qaeda, who will actually pay them. Which option are you going to go with if you're a father and you have a family to support? You're going to spend your whole life being safe housed by a couple of crackheads not working? Are you going to go work for the same institution you spent the last 20 years fighting against?
Yeah,
there's really only one option.
Whole swallowed up by the streets kind of thing, but
exactly.
Also the dirt streets and the adobe buildings. Yeah.
So, when we had the opportunity to get pulled into that 20 years ago when I enlisted, I wanted to go to Afghanistan and kill terrorists. And here we are 20 years later, I've had some enlightenment and I see everything very, very differently than I did back then. And I've got an opportunity to make amends to people I never had the opportunity to harm. But I also didn't really get to serve that long either. And this was kind of like living vicariously. I got to go, do some cool shit. Mm-hmm. So we jumped in full force. I mean, we were both looking for purpose hard at that point in time. We'd been sober like a year and a half and we had money again and things were getting dicey because that's typically when Jess and I make bad decisions.
Yeah.
And we just
so much money.
Let's pour it all into this and get some good things done. And I mean, it ended up changing our lives.
Yeah, you have someone living there with you,
eh? Yeah, she's a badass too. This girl, check this out. So we got her the day before Christmas, 2021. She came to Jess, and we were like in the middle of trying to shut down our safe houses because we'd spent all our money. And she sends Jess a voice note of her mom screaming while the Taliban, you can hear them beating her father. And Jess like, Ben, I don't give a fuck what you do, but find the money. Like, just come up with it, okay? Because we're taking this girl. And I was like, okay. Took her 3.5 years. She's taught herself 4 languages on YouTube and used those languages to convince people to help her through 14 countries by herself. She was 19 when the Taliban took over Afghanistan. She's 23 now. But she was able to, with almost no assistance, get herself all the way to Guatemala. Wow. And then we were able to leverage contacts in the Mexican government and U.S. Border Patrol to legally get her into America. And so now she's here. She's got a work permit. She's got an asylum case going and she's in college and she works. Like she's fucking amazing.
And get this shit.
wow.
So they have like this woodworking shop, right? And we have, you know, like,
By they, she means us. We.
oh yeah, sorry. So
Yeah.
in Memphis, there's a woodworking shop where we, you know, for veterans, people coming off the street, people with no, you know, like professionalism, to teach them skills. So, you know, she just got here. She needed a job. We were like, fuck it, you can come work at the woodworking shop. So Ben comes out with this like anniversary cutting boards. I made cutting boards. And there was one, it was a 9/11 one. And it had like the towers and all that. And so Ben's taking a photo and he's taking like all these videos. He's like, it's just so cool to have an Afghan girl making these cutting boards. She was like, why? She had no fucking idea.
Yeah, she had no idea why we were in her country, I guess, and just never thought that. They didn't teach you and this is a very educated girl. She's a college student when we got her.
Yeah.
Smart.
Stupid smart. She had no idea what 9/11 was. None whatsoever.
No shit.
Like, they don't teach us that in school.
I mean, why would they? But like
Right.
at the same time, I
At the
never
same
heard
time,
that
like,
before.
why are all the Americans here? Shouldn't I know that? You know. Yeah. But yeah, that was nuts. She ended up outworking every combat vet we had in that building. I'm talking working circles around these guys, man. She is a fucking machine.
Hell yeah.
Wow. Just so much, as I said, like the whole thing was intimidating to watch so much of your story, both of your story, and come on and imagine what we could do in an hour or whatever. And I'm just blown away by how many things you guys have been through and made it through in order to turn it into some positive. It's like in a little way that, you know, I still deal with depression and PTSD, and the podcast itself was my outlet to try to be helpful. And it's such a small thing compared to what you guys do, but
I don't think it is. And here's why. You know, what we're doing is selfish. It is. Like, this is what we have to do to stay sober. I think people like you that go out here and make these podcasts and share your platform with other people as a way for them to get their story out there or put their scars into the service of others, as Scott likes to say. It's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. And I'm very, very grateful to y'all for having us on here. I really am. You know, we didn't get time to get into a lot of the good shit that we're doing with Shawn, just because I rambled so much about, you know, my scar stories.
But we got to hear that stuff, man.
That's right. It's got to out there, man.
You should. How many lives you got, man?
Well, that's the thing.
Fuck a cat. What has more lives than cats?
I don't think I had as many as I've used. And that's another reason I live the way I do today, because I am very much on borrowed time. You know?
Yeah. So I flatlined a whole bunch of times, and the lungs clapped a whole bunch of times. Like and they made me as comfortable as they could until I died, and then I just didn't. So and then oops. So yeah, no, that is my whole philosophy on any of it. I'm like, I was supposed to die when I was 20. Like, so the rest of this is borrowed time. All I can do is be the best dad I can possibly be. Try to raise some fully functioning humans who are well-rounded and nice to people. And then I can tap out. They can finally finish me off. Like, and I'll try to have fun and try to touch as many people as I can. With positivity.
Whoa.
John Coffey on Paul Edgecombe style. I want to infect people with positivity.
Well, that's what it comes down to, man. None of us survive these shitty things to live the rest of our lives. Like,
I lived through it, might as well use it. I lived through my life. I might as well try to help people with it.
Yeah.
And then can't take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive.
None of us get out alive, man.
Yeah. Figure out what the afterlife is and see if we can look everyone else up then.
So what are the things you didn't get into? What do you?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What else you need to get off your chest that you didn't get to with Shawn?
Do you have any saved rounds that you'd like to expel with us? Come on. That sounded like you got a list. We got time.
No, I'm trying to think, man. Like,
There's so much.
God, if I open another rabbit hole, we'll end up going for like 12 more days. But I don't know, man. If I could just get it across to everybody that just because you've been through some shitty shit, even if you're a dumbass like me and you put yourself through it, it doesn't have to define your life. You know, you don't have to be afraid of your background getting out. You don't have to walk around in fear that people are going to find out where you come from or what you did. Like, every single fucking one of us is capable of doing some really badass, amazing things. You just got to be willing to step into the fray and get uncomfortable. You know, 2 years ago, like my greatest fear was talking in front of a fucking camera, and now I do it every day.
Look at you.
I kept forcing myself to do these. Here's a trick to anybody listening. If you get asked to do something and there's something uncomfortable in that and you really just don't want to do it, there's something to that. And you might want to consider leaning into it even harder, because that's how we grow as human beings. Mm-hmm. That's how we reach these next levels of potential. And Zach, you made a great point about that emotional maturity. As we get older, like we start realizing things aren't the way we thought they were. And so much of what actually matters in this life is going to come down to how much value did we put into somebody else's life? How much were we of service to somebody else who had less than we are? And so I don't know. That's my soapbox. That was something I really didn't get a chance to get into on Shawn Ryan, but you guys have a huge veteran audience. If there are people listening to this podcast that are struggling with a lack of meaning or purpose in their life, dude, go find a way to be of service to somebody else again. Mm-hmm. Just because the uniform comes off and you lost that whole reason you existed, it doesn't mean it has to stop there. Like, you can go out and find ways to volunteer all over the place. There's 100%. No shortage of good shit you can get done out there.
I would say, if you're called to service, it doesn't specifically have to be in the military. Like, there's a million ways you can serve people, humanity, your community. Like, there's throw a rock.
As much as I love, it's funny we were talking about like patriotism as a kid versus patriotism now. My patriotism has changed a lot.
Yeah, mine too.
What I thought was I was all about country and the flag, the government, in the way that I grew up has changed to being about the people.
Yes.
And it is about our history, and it's about the people on the ground, and it's about our veterans. It's about our citizens, like not as much about you know what I mean? It's just shifted to a different thing. And capitalism might be the best system ever that we know of to this point, but it creates a lot of selfishness.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of very self-centered people who are just focused on themselves. And partially that's because a lot of people are broke. A lot of people are poor, and you get stuck in that mindset. But I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like this podcast is a bit of a service. It's a selfish service in the same way that it is for you, where this is me putting myself out there to make myself feel better, helping people, to try to give myself relief from my own inner demons. But I was just thinking the other day, like, I want to do more. Like, I want to do something else. I want to do other things because it's really where it's at, man. And you hope that in doing so, like I assume from your story, you didn't exactly say this, but the people that you've helped are now helping you, correct?
100%.
Yep.
We have built our army in Memphis from people that were once in the gutters, and we helped, And what you just said about you want to do more, that's like the common mantra I see from so many people, mostly vets who are going into doing these lives of service kind of things. You always want to do more. It's almost like it's become an addiction, but a healthy one, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you for sure that's what this has become for Jess and I. All we've done, we didn't lose our addiction. Like, we're still addicted. We're just addicted to what we do today,
Which isn't always addiction. Healthy.
I was gonna say
sure
they're both gonna kill you.
Yeah, you can run yourselves in the ground hard doing what you're doing too. You gotta find balance. It's all about balance.
Balance is the lie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or trying to achieve any level of it, not equal perfect, but it's about to tip. Put some more on this end.
Yes. If we get to that level, then that's
keep it right. Keep the water away from the water line. But there's still water inside, I promise.
Well, we've also grown to understand that whatever mental health things people go through, whether it's depression or whether it's addiction or whether it's other things, is you're probably always going to have that.
Yes.
Like I know with addiction that you're always in recovery forever, for the rest of your life. But I think that applies to most every other affliction. Like it's a matter of learning how to manage your shit. It's learning how to manage what you have and what you're dealing with.
How to manage it, and I think to whatever extent possible, how to turn it into a strength. Like dysthymia. just kind of a mild depression. You're just dissatisfied with everything. That's a superpower if you think about it. You're never content. You're always going to be chasing more. And if you work it right, it allows you to become a hyper-productive human being. Hell yeah. ADHD is the same way. Is it fucking crippling? Yes, but I've weaponized that shit, dude, because I'm able to go out there and manage, you guys see it, 1,000 different things. Bing. And I just go full steam on all of them. You know, so like a lot of these mental health issues that we battle, like there are ways to manipulate those into helping us if you get really creative with it.
Yeah, I love that.
Because they are going to be with you for fucking ever.
Yeah, the whole time.
The whole time.
This is who I am, motherfucker. Like,
I think the greater purpose for this podcast is something you were talking about when you had said you were sitting with the guy, is it Scaramucci? Is that his name?
Yeah, Scaramucci.
I can't believe I remember that.
Check you out.
Where you said he had said there's only 5 evil people, and you're like, oh, he gets it. You know, he understands or whatever. And that's the whole point of this to me, is because I know that when I was in the darkest times, when I was very suicidal, and it had seemed like the darker I got, the more the people I thought were around me seemed to step away. And it was just me, and I had no one, to talk to or to understand what was going on in my head, or that even if I talked to somebody, it was typically people that had zero concept, the same as I don't understand addiction. Like they didn't understand where I was coming from. And it was like, oh, go take a walk, lift your chin up, you know, like they
smile more.
And it's not their fault. Like they just don't, they've never been here. So I'm like, being a traveling musician and having this bit of a platform that I had, I'm like, look, I need people to come to me, and I need to be meaningful to them. So in those darkest times, I would post on Facebook, hey, reach out. Don't ever be alone. I'll sit with you. I may not have the answers, but I'll go through this with you. That helped me. You know what I mean? That ended up being selfish, helping me to get through the shit. And this podcast is just that on a bigger scale.
I love that.
I say that because I want people who are maybe in the space that you've been through, or are to understand that somebody else has been there. Somebody understands what it's like to be addicted and to feel like shit about yourself, and you can climb out of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
These two.
Absolutely.
They've been through all of y'all's story put together.
I think when you're struggling with anything, finding somebody that actually gets it is a huge thing. And I will say, for all of the bitching I do about how divided we are on social media is a great way to find people that do get it. Like the reach that some of us have on social media. It's you got to use it for good reasons, man. You know, and I love the fact that you guys are using your platform for something just like this, because I don't care how unique your circumstances are. There's somebody that's already been through it. Yeah. Somebody's already been through it and beat that shit.
Hell yeah. And I try to, it's always, no one wants to bitch to me about it. And because, you know, look at you. I don't want to bitch about my problems. I was like, you're almost a chicken nugget. And I'm like, I was a step away from becoming what I eat. Fuck you. Like, but no, everyone's story is valid. It makes sense. Yep. It is what made them. Everyone's life is a mosaic of all of the things that happened to us and all the decisions we made that end up making the big picture. And freaking it at no point does my looking like this mean that you dealing with depression or y'all dealing with all these other things equals less by any freaking means. And I'm like, I'm sorry that I'm physically jacked up, but it has nothing to do with all the shit you've had to deal with. Like, I haven't had to do a fraction of what you had to do. If we switch places, I don't know who'd be doing better. Like, it is not a competition. Everyone's pain, everyone's trauma, everyone's story and journey is valid, and it's theirs, and they should own it and stop playing like they're a freaking NPC in their own story. Sorry.
No, that's it.
I don't know where that came from down somewhere. I'm sorry.
That's it right there.
Oops. Like, oh no, neck veins are coming out. I'm gonna shut up.
I just think it's important. I just think it's super important for people to understand. I mean, look, you guys, you talk about Deftones, or like just such a simple thing as you might look for a partner or a friend, and you're like, oh, they like the same music I like.
Yeah, that obscure thing.
You can do that. You can kind of do the same thing with your fucking problems.
Yeah,
and you can make that a good thing and not a bad thing. Which clearly you said don't date in a 12-step program, but. In the long run, you guys had an understanding and could understand each other in a way that probably many other people couldn't.
Yeah, at no point were either of you throwing, the shit you used to do, the fact that you're an addict, all this stuff in each other's face without throwing it at a mirror too. Never. Yeah. So that had to be a good tool in y'all's tool bag. The fact that y'all both had each other's back in a way that most couples really can't really mess with.
Yeah.
I would say, like I said, relapse together, stay together. Not that should be anyone's plan, but the fact that y'all seem to have done all of this as a team somehow. Like, we hit rock bottom at the same time. It was a plan.
We got really lucky.
We really did. We really did.
Dude,
I mean, should have been honestly burned alive, all kinds of stuff.
I was going to say, in your story, it's not just the luck of you guys getting through it together, but individually surviving. Yeah. Like the fuck, dude.
Damn, the fuck. Like, that's what
I'm just listening.
The fuck.
We've had all these guests on, and they have trauma stories, and they're crazy. Like, you listen to the story, and you're like, fuck, dude. But then, like, after your second or third fucking life of trauma stories, I'm like, there's still like 4 hours left in the show. What the fuck?
Yeah, like,
it's crazy.
You gotta get a whole timeline, like, storyboard together. And be like, there we were. The first time I tried stuff. 13.
Wow.
Like, just...
We have that. I completely forgot to mention it. We've got
GTO fire.
Yeah, we've got a big timeline of all the big crazy events. We do have a book out. It's on Kickstarter right now. So if you go to Kickstarter and just search "We Fight Monsters," that's the name of our book.
Oh,
It'll
cool!
Be
I like that.
In about a month.
Cool. Hell,
that's fucking awesome. And you have what did Shawn do, like a little mini doc?
He did, man. So it's the first time he's ever done this. He decided to send a crew to Memphis and check out what we're doing. I don't know if it's because he just thought it'd be awesome to see, or if it was because he thought we were full of shit. But either way, he sent a crew to Memphis.
I'm gonna go with "So Enamored by You."
That's
my vote.
They spent 9 hours with us out there and put together they went and checked out everything, the trap houses that we've taken over. They went halfway houses. They went and met with the drug task force and like just all sorts of cool shit. But he put it on his Patreon, so you got to be a subscribed member on Shawn Ryan's Patreon. But he did like an hour-long documentary on us. And then there's a 6-minute teaser on YouTube, but it's fucking great, dude. Like, he did an amazing job on this. And I'm like eternally grateful to him for that, because now when people email us and they're like, "Hey, I want to know more about what you guys are doing," perfect. Watch the 6-minute video. You'll know everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's that.
I was going to say.
It's that good.
Sizzle reel.
Yeah, I watched he played part of it in the episode, but I also watched the little trailer. It looks fucking amazing.
Hell yeah. He was like, make sure this dude's not Uncle Rico. Send somebody to make sure he's not making up half of this shit. Right?
I bet he was just like, blown away. No fucking way.
Yeah, like you hear it and it sounds insane. I would never be mad at one person for thinking that we're full of shit, but I also would never not invite that person to come check it out, because we love it.
Oh yeah, come on
we
down.
Love it. And it's one thing to hear it. It's something else entirely to see it in person.
100%.
Like, it's life changing. If you guys can make it out April 19th, you should come. You're
really selling me on the show up in person with 3 murders in the last 2 days.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Maybe statistically, I'll survive.
Maybe you'll get to see one. You never know.
It is Memphis.
It's not. I would like to check that off my bucket list, I suppose.
You ever seen a dead body, Ricky?
So that could be arranged.
He knows a guy who knows a lot of guys.
Do you guys ever, I know you said, you had mentioned, like, hey, I hope my baby mama doesn't hear this, but that your boy had to duck under the floor or something.
Oh,
yeah,
he did.
From a drive-by.
Yeah.
I know you'd also mentioned that when you come into the community that everybody's cool with you. Like, you've kind of grandfathered yourself into being this positive thing where they're like, in the hood, they don't fuck with you. They're happy to see you. But do you ever have like fear? I mean, is there ever like times you're like, oh fuck?
No, dude, I'm never ever.
These are my people.
Never, ever.
The only would be when we meet like the young gangsters that don't really know us from back in the day, because the young ones, dude, they will just start blasting. Like there's
Yeah,
no thought to
hotheads
it
trying
at
to
all.
make a name for themselves or something.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, and it's
Ugh.
they're from that age group that doesn't attach consequences to actions,
None.
and they've already accepted that going to prison is part of your
Part of
journey.
their
It's how
future.
you get more cred out there. So, like that, yeah, you do got to watch out for the young ones. But to answer your question, no, I'm never scared out there. And you can drop me in the middle of South Memphis 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't give a shit, dude. I love it out there. I love it. But I think a lot of that, it's not just Memphis. We spent so much time out there on those streets. Like we know what we're looking for, and we know what is a bad sign, right? So you can drop me in the middle of Detroit. I've gone unarmed into cartel country, Mexico. You got to know your environment, and you got to know how to make friends in places really fast, you know? And I think that's a skill set that comes naturally to a lot of us, but not necessarily everybody.
Yeah, spending a little time in a trap house for weeks on end probably helps you get a little street smarts.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, that's scary, man. That's scary. Yeah, I mean, I'm terrified. Like if I get slightly off the road in a not as friendly environment, I start head on a swivel, freaking out a little bit.
I'm also an easy target looking thing when I roll into places. So I'm just like, so I assume people are like, if there's bad intentions somewhere, they're like, that one, I'm going to take stuff from that one. And I'm like, I don't want to be tested, but like, I'm not going to just be like, yeah, have that, bro. Like, you won't see me coming.
Dude, you and me are different. If somebody even acts like they want my wallet, I'm going to give it to them. I don't give a fuck.
This whole thing? I don't need this thing anymore. That's yours, sir. Can I at least take my ID out? That's hard to replace.
There's not enough in there for me to care about.
Can I get my military ID and my driver's license just for convenience, please?
Even when I really, really didn't want to live, I wanted to choose when I went out. I don't want to fucking somebody else to pick my time for me. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, if I ever tapped out, it would not be a suicide by someone else situation by any stretch of the imagination. I'd make it real elaborate, and there'd be a lot of questions when y'all found the pieces of me.
There ain't a whole lot of pieces left, bro.
You'd have a lot of questions when you found the piece that. Yeah, never mind. Everyone who's had to stand more than 8 hours on a post in a desert has just had these conversations. We're like, how would you do it, bro? And people are just like, super glue and duct tape, and I'd hold like this and like that. And yeah, like, no, jump off the building, but put a glass of water next to me so they think I was trying to do something cool, and I just missed.
I'm not going to jump into a pool of water. I'm not going to jump into a bucket of water, but into an ordinary drinking glass.
Yeah, just set it next to me, and I just have bad aim. I'm not like... He
some
flew
of y'all,
funny for some
of y'all
reason.
Motherfuckers show you didn't watch Bugs Bunny growing up.
I knew what you were. I was giggling. I would say, you can't see my grays anymore. I cut them off.
So anything else you wanted to get off your chest, talk about before we call it a day?
Start doing a dang thing.
No, dude, we love y'all, and I would love to come back on in a few months and provide an update on that nursing home and some of the South Memphis shit too. But
I would love that.
I'm dead serious about y'all coming out April 19th if you can get there.
And if you
we're gonna
keep them going like every month,
we'll try.
every other month.
Yeah,
I was gonna say definitely gonna try to make it to at least one of them in the future for sure. I feel
I'm
can at this point.
I'm in Southern Illinois, so I'm not that far away.
Our
dog
dog
for me,
trainers
but...
come down from Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
What part do they say? Do they know?
Where in Illinois are they? I don't know. Hold on.
Over there.
I don't know. They're actually coming down on Friday tomorroll. They're coming down. I don't remember.
I'll find out. I'll shoot you a text.
Yeah, text me. Yeah, anytime you want to come back on, like we'll just hit you up in a few months. But if something comes up soon and you need to get on and put it out there, feel free.
If you just need us to yell about it on an episode.
Yeah, just send us a text and say, hey, mention this shit or tell some people about this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We got your back, man.
Awesome.
And then you said it was We Fight Monsters on Kickstarter. Is the book?
So the book is We Fight Monsters on Kickstarter. If you want to check out our website, it's wefightmonsters.org. We also sell apparel to help fund the mission on onceamerican.com.
Is that ONCE?
Yep, ONCE American.com.
Check.
And they can get to your YouTube channel from your website?
I think so, but if not, it's youtube.com/@monsterfighters.
Boom.
Okay. Cool. Well, man,
I can't unscrew it and drop it, but I'm dropping my mic.
I really appreciate you guys coming on. Jess, thank you so much.
Yeah,
You know what? And I'm going to throw this out too. Sometime in the next little bit, fuck Ben, Jess, you're just coming on. We're just going to have you on.
There you go. I have a bad habit of dominating the conversations, and
I love him because he's so good at
I'm
talking.
aware of this limitation that I have. So yeah, you should definitely go on. Hey, so check this out. She just went on the show. You already know she went on Shawn Ryan. She just went on the Scott Mann podcast. It drops in 2 weeks, right?
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Maybe
2 for you, 3 for me.
Okay.
But I had my own podcast for Shawn Ryan without him in the room. So it's
Scott Mann.
Scott Mann. What the fuck did I say?
Shawn Ryan.
Oh.
They're both the one syllable short things.
Yeah, let me know. You can hop on whenever you want. I'd love to just pick your brain a little bit and hear some more of your story.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say let you dominate a conversation.
Dig it.
I can't make words half the time. That's why I just let him do it.
It's fine. I make a lot of words.
Teamwork. Yeah.
That's right.
Ty makes even more words.
I would say man, y'all were going at it. I was a hype man for most of this episode. Yep. Say it again. Bring it back. Like, yeah, that's all I was doing half of this episode. But I'm down. I would say Zach was happy. So
Dude, we've got
so
coming we're Tuesday. I'm gonna release this Tuesday, by the way. Normally it's several weeks, but I want to just push this one out.
Thank you.
yeah, you're coming out quick.
Tuesday night, I'm super excited about this. You familiar with Power Slap? It's where the dudes stand with the table and they just
yes.
So for some reason YouTube is just in the background of my life every day, all the time. Something's on. It's just a video. I'm half paying attention. And I just went down this fucking Power Slap rabbit hole and started getting into the Power Slap shit. It's run by Dana White. He says it's going to be bigger than UFC. He's like, this is fucking, it's amazing. There's more to it than you think. Like there's actually a strategy and there's rules and everything else. Anyway, I like this one dude in particular because he has some skin condition so that when he gets slapped, his face instantly swells. so he's always fucking looks like a fucking blowfish, dude.
Damn.
He's the welterweight champion, and I reached out to him a couple of days ago, and I'm like, hey man, I'd love to have you on to tell your story, because apparently you had a story of like driving an illegal car across country to become this Power Slap champion. I'm like, I can't fucking wait to talk to this dude. We're doing it Tuesday
it's the
night.
American dream, man. On
There's
three
so many-
wheels, I rolled
there's so
across
many-
the country to slap motherfuckers in the teeth.
There's so many questions, man, because it's like you what?
Ow.
You hold your hands behind your back and let another man fucking slap you as hard as he can in the fucking face?
Ow. I've been slapped by enough ladies. I don't need a dude to ever do it. And then, because ladies never miss the ear, though. Isn't that against the rules that they can't hit the ear?
Can't hit the ear, can't hit the eye, can't hit the neck.
That's
Got to be right in
me.
the cheek, really.
When you clap the ear, I'm just ringing for the next week.
I had a girl rupture my eardrum doing that one time.
Ugh.
Fuck that, dude.
Oh, did she giggle like that? He earned it. Like, like he was talking shit.
What's worse,
sorry.
getting your arm meat? You're getting your arm meat slashed out, or getting your eardrum clapped?
The slash by far.
I win.
She's like, "Boo! I'm the one." I've cut you the deepest, both physically and metaphorically, and spiritually. I got all of them.
Last question: how was Deftones?
Oh.
It was good.
It was good. Their last one was a lot better because it was outside. It always sucks.
And
when
it
they're
was
inside.
and it was with Gojira last time.
Yeah.
This time was
Love
with
Gojira.
Mars Volta, and they're just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care for Mars Volta.
I don't either.
And also, like I saw Deftones probably 20 times in my life, starting when they were playing a tiny club after the first album, Adrenaline, was
I'm
out.
jealous.
And it's so hard now because his voice isn't the same, and he
Chino's
can't
like
scream the
guitar.
same.
Yep.
I still love it. He looks healthy. He looks healthier than he had in the past.
Yep. If you get the chance to see Gojira, you should definitely see them. They are one of the best live
So
shows I've
good.
ever been to.
They're one of those bands that I've heard so many good things about, and I've just never went down the rabbit hole, and I don't know why.
Bro, you got to check out Gojira.
I need
Check it,
to.
bro.
I need to spend some time with them.
I've
been listening to a lot of like modern metal that's really melodic, like Sleep Token, Bad Omens. Our Promise is really great. I try to get them on the podcast.
You should check out Make Them Suffer.
I know the name, but I don't think I've ever listened to them either.
The song is Ether, and it's fucking beautiful.
They're great melodic metal. Outstanding.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay.
I need to check that out. There's a lot of good shit, man. People bitch about there not being good music, but I find new bands all the time that I'm like, how the fuck are they not the most famous band in the world? They're so good.
Yep.
Never Tell. Have you guys listened to Sleep Token at all?
Sleep Token, yes. That was
I love them.
One of their songs. I don't remember what
Mikey
it was.
and them like them.
You should go deep on their catalog, especially their older shit's a little heavier. They've gotten some of their new stuff's really poppy, which I love too. But
you should take them deep.
Dude, their new song is like way up on the charts above like fucking some of the big I can't even think of as Jelly Roll and fucking the whoever the stupid famous people that people listen to. Sleep Token's like charting really high right now, and it's like kind of a prog metal, also soft song with piano and saxophone, and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like ska, but metal?
Definitely not.
They're the ones who bringing in trumpets for no fucking reason.
I said a saxophone. Saxophones are sexy. Trumpets are not sexy. There's nothing sexy about a trumpet.
I mean, Louis Armstrong.
Unless you stick like the mouthpiece in your asshole, then it's kind of sexy, I guess, if you're into that.
I say there's about 6 trumpet guys who probably made it right.
On that note, thank you guys so much again.
Ditto.
We'll definitely have you back on soon.
We appreciate shit out of both you guys.
Ditto.
Yeah, you too. Thank you guys so much. Keep us in the loop. Let us know what's going on. Keep us up to date on everything. We'll keep everybody up to date here.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank everybody for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Word of mouth's a big deal, and we're glad you're still fucking here.
Tell your friends about us.